we are living the experience of being enslaved to something or someone or some occurrence. Sandra sent me, probably sent many of us a wonderful email about an eagle named Freedom. And we know that we're in Black History Month, and we know that freedom is a big theme in that. It occurred to me that many years, and I may have shared with you this before, many years ago I was watching, I had sometimes when I'm studying or channeling, I will have just something on television that I don't want to watch. So that doesn't really take my attention away from what I'm doing, but something about the background thing happening sometimes opens up my channel more. And I'm always blown away by the fact that even though it's a movie I don't want to watch, there is usually one or two lines in it that come right out at me, and I have to jot them down. And one such movie that I was watching some years ago had a line in it. And the line was, "Freedom is like oxygen. Those who have it barely even seem to notice, while those who don't are dying for lack of it." Freedom is like oxygen. Those who have it barely even seem to notice, but those who don't are dying for lack of it. I'll say that once more. Freedom is like oxygen. Those who have it barely even seem to notice, while those who don't are dying for lack of it. I don't know if all of you, but I know that certainly I'm not the only one of you who has had some experiences in my life where you couldn't get a breath. Experiences where you're choking on something, you've swallowed something down the wrong and it's gone and blocked off your windpipe and you couldn't get your breath. I've had 3 experiences of really feeling like I was in my last moments, that I was about to perish, drowning twice in the ocean and once in a swimming pool, where trying to get my breath was such a big deal that I felt like my life was at stake. If I can't fight my way to the surface, or if I can't dislodge whatever this is in my throat, I will certainly die. And the desperation at which I tried to get whatever it was lodged in my throat out, having someone pound on my back, standing upside down, praying with all of my mind and heart, let this thing go. The struggle that I had in the ocean twice to just try to make it up to the surface where I could get a breath of fresh air, life-giving air. Once I got on the surface, once I got back on the boat, once whatever it was that was lodged in my throat got dislodged, later on that day, breathing normally and naturally, intaking the fullness of oxygen and exhaling it, I barely even seemed to notice the gift of being alive and the gift of breathing. I've said before, like the master who took the teacher who took the student, who said, I've really been working these 5 unity principles, done all my daily lessons in A Course in Miracles, I've done the 4 T's, I took the Eye of the Storm class that was offered. I have been doing all of this, and yet I still seem to experience more bondage than liberty. I still don't feel free inside. And we know that the master took that student down to the water and dunked him underwater and held him there so long that that student had to fight with all his might to get that master's hand off of his head and to get up out of the water and to take a deep breath. And we know that the master said to the student, when the student said, what were you trying to do, kill me? The master said, no, I was trying to tell you what it takes to overcome your sense of littleness, to overcome your idea of separation. He said, when you want to be free, free in the spirit, free as a child of God to exercise all of the powers that we have been given, free of your bitterness, free of the story of your pain, free of your rock fight that you might be involved in for years with someone for having hurt you in whatever way. When you want to be free as much as you want breath, then you'll be free. This indicates to me that in any department of my life where it does not appear that I'm free of my own littleness, it's because I've yet to arrive at a place of wanting it enough. You see, we can become comfortable in our uncomfort zones. And comfortable in your uncomfort zone, for many people, is a better choice than doing the work it takes of renewing your own mind, of doing thought exchange over and over and over again throughout every single day. To notice when you're holding a thought that brings you an unpleasant feeling and doing the work to find the thought and undo the thought and exchange that negating thought into an enlivening thought. The mind can only hold on to one core idea at a given time. If it holds on to the idea of I am free, it cannot simultaneously hold on to the idea of look what you did to me. Look how you broke me. Look how I'm affected by my early childhood experiences. Look how I'm suppressed by racism, sexism, homophobia, and the unlevel playing field. You cannot be praising God and complaining about what life looks like at the same time. A core thought of praise brings with it all related thoughts of praise. If I hold to the thought, God is absolute good, everywhere present, I cannot be noticing where God seems not to be present, or where it looks like there is not all good. I cannot do but one thing at one given time. So it's always bondage or liberty, freedom or enslavement. The interesting thing is about being free or enslaved is that we, each of us, are our own liberator, should we choose to be, or we are our own master or overseer if we choose to be. We gather here to remember together that nothing can happen to us that does not occur through us. That we truly are shaping our experiences by the activity of our thinking. Once again, which is why the Voice for Christ, speaking through A Course in Miracles, says one of your main issues is that you are too tolerant of mind wandering. When you are in your comfort zone, you're not really doing anything except sitting in your comfort zone and most of the time complaining while you're there. We have given one another the assignment several times to take 30 days of no complaining about anything. An interesting thing about the universe is that if you commit yourself to not complain about anything, it will bring into your field all kinds of things that seem as though the automatic response would have to be a complaint. Our sister here said that patience is her thing. If you say, oh God, I want to be patient more than I want anything. I want to be patient as much as I want breath. You watch and see if you don't get into every long line in every store you go to. Watch and see if finally when you get up to the gas pump it breaks down. Because you have told the universe, I want to be patient. You can't prove that you're patient without having to practice patience. If you say that I want to experience and I want to master the art of unconditional love, watch what happens in your family field. Watch what happens in your neighborhood, and watch what happens in your workplace. It'll look like something perhaps is going wrong, but it's the universe saying, my brother Carlos has asked for unconditional love to be something he can master. You cannot master unconditional love without having to bring into your field experiences that look like a lack of love, or look like you don't deserve my love. If you're asking for patience, once again, how can you become patient? if you don't have some tests to your patience. Their scripture says that every time we ask, it's given. Knock, and the door will open. And seek, and we will find. And we are learning together, brothers and sisters, some of the ways to master the art of asking and seeking and knocking. And we are together to come to a greater understanding as to why in the manifest world it does not look like what I have asked for has been given. What I have been seeking is found, and the door I knocked on for my blessing has not yet been opened. One of the reasons for this, let me ask you a question. How many of you have prayed time and time and time again for a particular manifestation that has not manifested yet? So raise them high, be proud. Look around the room, everybody. Look at how many of us have prayed time and time and time again for a specific blessing, and it is yet to arrive. One of the mistakes, one of the erroneous things we can get involved in, which is a surprise to some of us, and was a surprise to me when the revelation came deeply and blazingly into my mind, is you never ask over and over again for the same thing. If you ask over and over and over again for the same thing, you are exercising a faith in not having it. Faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. If I pray a prayer for a specific manifestation, I must know that my word is law. That it is a law that if I ask, I will receive. And so asking one time is quite enough. If I ask believing, I know it is done in spirit. It is done in the invisible realm. As that scripture says, it's the evidence of things not seen. And I've said it to you all in this way, that when I got my kids into the van to take them to Disney World, they were already in Disney World when they got into the van. They were giddy and happy and talking and laughing as though they were already there. They weren't asking every 10 miles, can we go to Disney World? Dad, you are taking us to Disney World, aren't you? No, they asked, will you take us to Disney World? And I said yes, and they believed me. And they got their praise on. They got their rejoicing on. So we asked one time, because every time you return to ask, you are, once again, you are the living proof that you don't really believe you have it. So you want to ask again. And then again. And then again. And then you want to notice that you don't have it, so you go back and ask again. We should ask one time, in full faith, what the heart's desire is, believing that the law is the law, and that as a child of God, as the extension of the Almighty, as the Creator's creation, my speaking my desire brings forth the manifestation of it. Right now, it's in the invisible realm, making its way rapidly toward me, so long as I hold faith. So long as, like I said last week, that scripture, be never weary in well-doing, for in due season you will reap, if you faint not. And I've said, when I'm working in my garden, there are no flowers in my garden right now. You know why? It's not due season. But boy, come April or May, my stuff is going to start poking its head out of that ground from a nice winter sleep. And I know that. So you know what? I'm not out there digging up my perennials. I'm not out there building a deck on top of where I've got those perennials planted because it looks like nothing's there. I know they're there. And I know in due season they will come forth. That's the kind of knowing we are to know about the fulfillment and the manifestation of our heart's desires. So we put our desire out there. We know that we have the authority to. We know that we are creators, created in the image of the one creator. We know that all of the power in the universe is behind our decree. And we right then can begin to rejoice. We right then can get our dance on, and get our shout on, and get our song on, because we know it is done. We do not return to ask again, but we return often to praise some more.